They never taught you this in school. Not in science class, not in health class, not even in spiritual teachings. But every time you move your hand, you're releasing a force. Subtle, invisible, but measurable. A force that can heal, attract, protect, or waste away in silence. And right now, yours is probably asleep. Here's what you weren't told. Your hands contain over 177,000 nerve endings. A biological web so sensitive it can detect changes in temperature, vibration, and even electromagnetic fields. But it doesn't stop there. According to a branch of physics rooted in the Einstein-Cartan theory, when you move your hands, especially in circular motions, you generate what are called torsion fields. These are real, subtle spirals of energy that twist through space and interact with both matter and consciousness. Now think about this. The golden ratio, nature's divine blueprint, appears in the structure of your hand. From the length of your palm to the curve of your fingers, your body has been designed, yes, designed, to align with the same code that builds galaxies, ocean waves, sunflower seeds, and pyramids. Your hands were never just tools. They are antennae, tuning forks, ritual instruments built to access energy the world forgot how to use. This is not a metaphor. When ancient civilizations raised their hands in prayer, in blessing, in healing, they weren't just performing spiritual theater. They were activating biological power. In Tai Chi, the hands move ki, life force, with precision. In Ayurveda, the left palm is a receiver and the right a transmitter. In pranic healing, the hands scan and repair subtle bodies. And in all these practices, movement is never random. It's conscious, directional, intentional. But somewhere in modern history, this knowledge vanished, buried under layers of mechanical thinking and materialism. We began to see hands as tools, nothing more. We lost the ritual. We lost the power. Today, you're going to remember. In this video, we'll uncover why clockwise movements open energetic circuits, and why the reverse closes them. You'll learn how emotional charge, mental focus, and conscious intention activate a psychic trinity that turns your hand into a healing force. And you'll discover real techniques to sense objects through touch, perform ethereal massage, and direct energy without ever needing to speak a word. This isn't a video about theory. This is a map to real, physical, energetic control, hidden in plain sight. A secret, not of mysticism alone, but of your own anatomy. Because you weren't born disconnected. You were born electric, magnetic, divine. The question is, are you ready to turn it back on? Your hands are not an accident of biology. They are sacred architecture, designed with precision, encoded with geometry, and charged with a purpose that modern science is just beginning to rediscover. Inside every finger, beneath the surface of your skin, there's a silent mechanism working in perfect harmony with universal law. But unless you activate it with intention, that power remains dormant, like a key that never touches its lock. Let's begin with the blueprint, the golden ratio. Found in galaxies, nautilus shells, pine cones, and DNA. It is the pattern of creation, and this same ratio governs the proportions of your hand. The length of each finger bone, the relationship between palm and fingers, the arc of movement when your hand extends, all mirror this universal constant. Approximately 1.618. This isn't aesthetics, it's function. Geometry like this isn't passive. It conducts energy. It creates coherence between the physical and the non-physical. So when you raise your hand, when you move it with purpose, you are activating a kind of antenna, one that channels not just the energy within your body, but the energy around you. This is where torsion fields enter the picture. In physics, torsion refers to spin, and when certain movements occur, especially in spiral or circular patterns, they generate subtle, energetic vortices. These fields are invisible to the eye, but they interact with both matter and intention. Your hands, due to their nerve density and complex musculature, are ideal instruments to create and direct these fields. Think of them as projectors of will. They don't just touch, they transmit. And depending on the energy you combine with your movement, mental clarity, emotional resonance, and conscious awareness, you either reinforce your field or weaken it. This triad is everything. If your thoughts are distracted, if your emotions are numb, if your awareness is elsewhere, no gesture, no movement will ever tap into this deeper force. But when all three align, your mind focused, your heart engaged, your awareness present, you create what mystics call an energetic current. It moves through you, not metaphorically but physically. You feel it. You can send it. You can amplify it. This is why practices like pranic, healing, tai chi, and mudras work. They are not magic tricks. They are technologies of the subtle body. In pranic healing, for example, a trained practitioner can sweep blocked energy from a body simply by moving the hands. Because the palms are naturally sensitive and capable of giving or receiving energy depending on their position and motion. Left hand draws in, right hand sends out. This polarity isn't superstition. It's how your body is wired. And here's the overlooked part. You don't need to be a master healer to use this. You just need to become aware of what's already happening. Every time you comfort someone, every time you wave, point, push, embrace, you are shaping energy fields. The question is whether you're doing it consciously or unconsciously. Because the moment you shift from passive use to intentional activation, your hands become sacred instruments. The bridge between the seen and the unseen, the mind and the field, the self and the universe. Long before we had language, before alphabets or scriptures, we had hands pressed into cave walls. Red ochre palms on stone, some over 30,000 years old, standing as the first human symbols ever recorded. Not words, not tools, just the imprint of presence. A message from the past. I was here. I touched this world. I carried energy. Across cultures, this message was never forgotten. The hand became a universal glyph, not of labor but of power. In Egypt, the open palm represented life-giving forces, and certain mudras were used during sacred rituals to command divine order. In Buddhist iconography, statues of bodhisattvas and enlightened beings hold their hands in specific positions, each finger placed with purpose, forming channels to invoke peace, fearlessness, healing, or wisdom. These weren't artistic gestures, they were energy commands encoded in posture. In Christian mysticism, the icon of Christ Pantocrator shows the right hand lifted in blessing, fingers forming a precise configuration, not arbitrary, but symbolic of creation through divine intention. And surrounding the saints in ancient mosaics, one notices not just halos around heads, but radiant fields emerging from the hands. Even in silence, the hand speaks the language of the soul. In Hinduism, the fingers are seen as extensions of the 5 elements. The thumb is fire, index is air, middle is ether, ring is earth, and pinky is water. When you touch thumb to index in the Jnana Mudra, you aren't just creating a symbolic circle. You are closing an energetic loop, bringing wisdom and inner connection. Your hand, in this gesture, becomes a ritual tool, a microcosm of the universe. Then there's the spiral, a recurring symbol across the world, found etched into the stones of Newgrange, carved into Maori tattoos, and painted into Native American pottery. The spiral turning outward is the symbol of expansion, creation, outflowing energy, clockwise movement, as used in countless healing traditions, mirrors this spiral. The counterclockwise spiral pulls inward. Introspection, absorption, dissolution. This isn't cultural coincidence, it's embodied cosmology. When you move your hands in these directions, consciously, deliberately, you're doing more than shifting air. You're replicating the rotation of galaxies, the spin of DNA, the swirl of subatomic particles. You are, in essence, synchronizing with the pulse of creation itself. And this is what they never taught you. Your gestures are not empty. They are echoes of ancient rituals buried in your blood. Every movement, every curve of your palm, every subtle trace you make through the air, it all matters. You don't need to invent meaning. The meaning has always been there. It's encoded in your biology. It lives in your myths. It vibrates in your memory. Because your hands have always been sacred. The question is, will you begin to treat them that way? So how do you begin? How do you stop merely using your hands and start activating them? The answer is not complicated, but it is precise. It begins with attention, with slowing down enough to notice the energy signature already moving through you. The first step is awareness through sensation. Sit quietly, bring your palms to face each other, and slowly move them apart and back together, like pressing and pulling a magnetic field. Don't imagine it. Feel it. That subtle resistance, that tingle or warmth. That's the biofield waking up. If your mind wanders, bring it back to the center of your palms. Let sensation be your anchor. Next, directionality. When you move your hands in a clockwise circle, you're following the natural spiral of outward energy flow, creating, expanding, transmitting. This is the motion used in blessings, healing gestures, and energy cleansing rituals. Use this direction when you want to project intention, whether it's calming someone, charging water, or even releasing stress from your own body. On the other hand, counterclockwise motion pulls inward. It gathers, absorbs, pulls energy back to center. Use this when you want to receive insight, ground your emotions, or draw energy into a depleted area. Your hands, when moved with this awareness, become tools of regulation, capable of balancing your inner world as surely as any breathwork or mantra. Now add focus. Your hands will amplify whatever you pair them with: intention, emotion, and thought. These three form the psychic trinity that activates energy at its fullest. If your thought is vague, your signal is weak. If your emotion is numb, your energy is dull. If your awareness is distracted, your gesture is empty. But when all three align, even a simple motion, like tracing a spiral in the air, becomes a command to the universe. Try this. Close your eyes. Recall a memory of deep peace. Let it fill you. Then, hold your left hand open to the sky and slowly rotate your right hand clockwise just above your heart. Breathe as you move. Feel the field responding. Not in your imagination, but in your skin. That warm pressure, that magnetic pulse, that subtle shift in your mood. It's real. You've just opened a current. This is the essence of ethereal massage, moving energy not by contact, but by vibration. Use it to ease pain, dissolve tension, or realign your body's energetic rhythm. And the more you practice, the more sensitive your hands become, not just to energy and motion, but to objects with history. This is psychometry, the art of touching an item and sensing its past, its emotional residue, its energetic weight. It may sound fantastical, but it's not fantasy. It's perception, refined through repetition and trust. And this is the power you were born with. Not in the future, Not after years of study. Right now. In your bones. In your blood. In your fingertips. The only thing missing is your attention. Because energy isn't hidden. You are. You were never meant to feel powerless. You were never meant to live disconnected from the invisible pulse of creation. The energy within you was never lost. It was simply neglected, overlooked, drowned beneath the noise of a world that forgot how to listen to subtle things. But you're remembering now. Your hands are not empty. They are ancient instruments of transformation. They are not merely extensions of your nervous system. They are portals, designed with sacred geometry, charged with over 177,000 nerve endings, aligned with the spiral of galaxies and the coils of DNA. They are alive with potential. And now you know the truth. Every movement matters. Every gesture is a language. Every intention is an echo in the field. For too long, you've been taught to separate science from spirit, body from soul, intention from reality. But the split was never real, only imagined. The fields you create, the spirals you draw, the heat you feel when you focus, they are not hallucinations. They are evidence. Evidence that energy follows attention, that the body responds to will, that the universe listens when you move with clarity and purpose. So the question is no longer, does this work? The question is, will you use it? Will you sit with your hands in silence, feeling the electric space between them? Will you trace spirals in the air and trust the invisible current they awaken? Will you bless your water with a gesture, calm a friend with your palm, or pull light into your own chest when the darkness feels too heavy? You don't need to be a master. You don't need robes, crystals, or titles. All you need is what you already have, a body that remembers and a soul that's ready. Begin now. Start small. One motion, one breath, one spiral, and then listen. Watch what shifts, feel what returns. This is not a new power. It is the oldest one, the most sacred, the most intimate, the one they never taught. And if something within you stirred today, if you felt your palms tingling, your breath deepening, your awareness sharpening, that's not coincidence. That's recognition. Something ancient within you has heard this message before, so go ahead, raise your hand, not to ask for power, but to activate it. Continue this journey inward. Let your own awakening guide the way.